The Avengers in Galactic Storm. This is a fighting game released in arcades in 1995. It was developed and published by Data East, a company who had made headlines a year earlier for the lawsuit that Capcom filed against them for their other fighting game, Fighter's History. Capcom sued them for copyright infringement based on the argument that Fighter's History was too similar to their famous fighting game, Street Fighter II. If I were to file a similar lawsuit against Data East for this game, I would argue that it's too similar to this. No, it's not that bad, but it's not that good either. For starters, when you hear Avengers in the title, you might start thinking about all your favorite characters you could potentially play as, and if you like Captain America, you're in luck. But if you want to play as literally any of the other members of the Avengers, I got some bad news for you. To start off, you have the option of playing either story mode or versus mode. If you go with story mode, you're only given 4 characters to choose from. There's Black Knight, Captain America, Thunderstrike, and Crystal. These characters are actually based on a story arc from the Avengers comic book series. There are a handful of more recognizable faces, but they only come in the form of assists. You can spend meter during a match to summon your assist character for help. According to Wikipedia, this was actually the first modern fighting game to have this feature. It'll cost you 1 bar to summon your assist character for a single attack, and you can also spend 2 bars to do a super attack. Aside from that, it's a typical 4-button setup. You got punch and kick with light and heavy versions for each one, and each character has a handful of special moves. One thing I found kinda weird is the game tracks the amount of hits in your combos, but it doesn't really make it easy to do any. You can't link or cancel any normals, you can't cancel into or out of any special attacks, and you can't cancel into your super. You can juggle in some instances, but it doesn't feel consistent, and a lot of the combos I ended up doing were by accident.
Hell yeah! Actually did a combo.
It seems like the only real way to consistently do combos is to time your attacks with your assists. But if that's the case, then that means the only time you're gonna do any combos is when you want to spend half of your super bar. That kinda sucks. The story mode takes you through 5 different fights with short little cutscenes in between, and after completing the 5th battle, you get a 3-picture slideshow followed by this message, and then it becomes just like any other arcade fighting game of the era, where you're just matched with randomly selected characters after that. This is also basically what you get if you select versus mode in the beginning, with the only other real difference being that 4 of the 5 enemy characters you fight in story mode are now selectable. Visually, this is one of those games that for the time period looked great in screenshots, but did not look great in person. It's got the same kind of pre-rendered sprites you would find in other games of the era, like Killer Instinct or Donkey Kong Country, but these character models all kinda look plastic to me. Maybe the action figure look is what they're going for, but I'm not really feeling it. As far as audio goes, the sound effects are pretty on par with your typical Marvel fighting game. Everyone does a great job of yelling the name of their attack as they do it. But one thing I did notice is the sounds of connecting with your opponent don't have a lot of impact. It just doesn't sound like you're doing a whole lot of damage, and even though you're punching a metal robot in the face, for example, he still goes. The music is pretty forgettable for the most part, and this is probably due to the version of MAME I was using, but the background music would just suddenly stop playing sometimes.
I mean, technically, it's just one Avenger at this point. Where's the music? There's no music again. Turn off the music. Round 2 is fought in silence. That's so f***ed up.
Overall, if I had to summarize the game in a single word, I'd probably just say unremarkable. I wouldn't call it bad necessarily, and some people even still play it on Fightcade, but at the same time, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who is looking for a fighting game with a whole lot of depth. As with most fighting games, however, it's probably a lot more fun to play with friends. Either way, I got a good 45 minutes or so fun out of it, and I don't feel like I wasted my time. Speaking of wasting time, however, I will be back with another one soon. Till then, like it, subscribe to it, catch me on Twitch if you want to see it live. Later!